Many, many years ago, when animals could speak, a wondrous thing the ducks befell. Their tale is quite unique. Down by a pond dwelt all these ducks, 10,000 at least. Their duckish joys were undisturbed by any man or beast. One day down near the entrance gate, there was an awful din. 100 hens, all out of breath, were begging to come in.
"Oh, let us in!
These poor birds cried.
Before we do expire! 'Tis only by the merest inch that we escape the fire!"
Their feathers burned, their combs adroop. They were the saddest sight. They'd run 100 miles or more, all day and then all night.
Come in,
The ducks all quacked.
for you our hearts do bleed. We'll share our happy lot with you. Just tell us what you need.
And so these poor bedraggled hens amongst the ducks moved in.
For after all,
The ducks declared.
we're sisters beneath the skin.
Before too many months had lapsed, the hens were good as new. They sent for all their rooster friends, and those were welcomed too. To please their hosts, these chickens tried to waddle and to quack, to simulate the duckish ways. They quickly learned the knack. This pleased the flock of ducks because it gratified their pride. But hear my tale and learn how they got taken for a ride. The ducks, it seemed, spent all their time in fixing up the place, in growing food and building homes, and cleaning every space. They asked the hens what they would do to earn their daily bread.
"We'll teach and write and entertain and buy and sell!"
They said. And so these hens began to teach the baby ducks and chicks. They traded food and eggs and things with many clever tricks. They wrote great books and put on shows. Of genius they'd no lack. It wasn't long till chickens owned the Duckville Daily Quack. One day, a mother duck who took her ducklings to the lake was flabbergasted when one said,
A swim I will not take.
Why? Ducklings always swim.
She gasped.
It's what you're built to do. Like bunnies hop, and crickets chirp, and cows most always.
You are nuts.
Her son replied.
That stuff is all old hat. It's wrong for birds to swim. Besides, it's damn cold on my prat.
Oh, fie.
The mother duck exclaimed.
You're talking like a fool.
Up quacked the other ducklings then.
He's right. We learned in school.
Such things must stop.
The mother cried.
Those hens can't tell such lies. For sheering gratitude and nerve, this surely takes the prize.
But she was wrong, for even then, the hens did thump the tub, demanding they be let into the Duckville Swimming Club.
But you don't swim.
The ducks exclaimed.
To join, why should you care?
"That's not the point!
The hens replied.
To exclude us isn't fair!"
The younger ducks who'd been to school agreed right there and then.
To keep them out is bigotry. 'Twould just be anti-hen.
Outnumbered by the younger ducks, the old ducks soon did lose. The hens could join the swimming club if they would pay the dues. That night, the Duckville Daily Quack contained this banner spread. Reactionary ducks are licked. Duckville moves ahead. Down at the Duckville Gatey, the young set laughed with glee at cracks about old fuddy ducks in burlesque repartee. Next day the hens were at the club, a petition they'd sent round. They objected to the swimming fund with fury and with sound.
"You use our dues to fix the pond, to keep it neat and trim, and this is wrong!
They said.
You know we do not swim!"
God help us!
Cried a wise old duck.
These chickens have gone mad. We'll take this thing to court, by George, and justice will be had.
But when they went before the judge, imagine their dismay. A chicken judge decreed that they a heavy fine must pay.
Minorities must have their rights.
The judge declared right then,
To use hen's dues to fix the pond is very anti-hen.
once more the Duckville Daily Quack, emblazoned across the page. Old Fuddy Ducks refused to see the great new coming age. In Duckville's church on Sunday morn, the preacher spoke these words.
Discrimination's got to stop. Remember, we're all birds.
The wisest duck in all the town sat down in black despair.
I'll write a book,
He thought,
then this madness I will bear. Let swimmers swim, let hoppers hop, let each go his own way. Let none coerce a fellow bird.
was what he had to say.
'Twas wrong to force the hens to swim. So here's the problem's crux. It's just as bad for hens to try to chickenize our ducks.
I can't print that.
The printer said,
'Twill put me in a mess. My shop is mortgaged by the hens. The chickens own my press.
This worried duck then tried to warn his friends by speech and pen. But young ducks fresh from school just jeered.
He's a vicious anti-hen.
Now up the stream a little way was Gooseville on the lake. The hens had come to Gooseville too, but the geese were more awake. When the hens began to spoil the young, and Gooseville's laws to flout, the geese rose up in righteous wrath and simply threw them out. Of course, you know where they all ran. On Duckville they converged,
We've got to take these refugees.
was what the hens all urged. The Duckville Daily Quack declared, those geese will stop at naught. They plan to conquer all the world. Atrocities they've wrought.
That's right.
The young ducks all agreed.
We'll help our fellow birds. These geese have plans to conquer us. We've read the quack's own words.
They let the hens from Gooseville in, the whole bedraggled pack, and every hen took up a job on Duckville's Daily Quack. When Duckville's mayor's term was up, the quack put up its duck. A vain and stupid duck was he, a veritable cluck. But when he praised the wild young ducks and cursed the evil geese, the quack declared he was all-wise. His praise would never cease. The hens chipped in to help this cluck give grain away for free. The old ducks sadly shook their heads, the writing they could see. And sure enough, this stupid duck, he was elected mayor. From this point on, the Duckville Ducks, they never had a prayer. The mayor said,
Gooseville must go. We'll wipe them off the map.
while Duckville slept, the scheming hens for Gooseville set a trap. They called the geese by filthy names. They filled their pond with sticks. They helped the weasels catch the geese and other hennish tricks. The geese got mad and threw some rocks. It's war, the quack announced. We ducks must fight those evil geese till they've been soundly trounced. The ducks, who knew not of the tricks, indulged in by the mayor, were filled with patriotic zeal and pitched right in for fair. Now when the ducks had whipped the geese, the mayor called.
Retreat! Our Henville friends should really take Gooseville's big main street.
The hens were back in Gooseville now. They starved and beat the geese. They prayed for peace, but organized the Henville Armed Police. They drained the Gooseville swimming pond. They degoosified the schools. They wrung the neck of Gooseville's mayor on lately made-up rules. They formed a council of the hens, United Birds the name. The other birds who joined the thing did not perceive the game. No sooner had they set this up than they announced their plan to seize up Swanville as a home for all their hennish clan. They took a vote amongst themselves, and everyone approved.
Swanville was for hens,
They said,
way back, before we moved.
and so they kicked the swans all out, with Duckville's help and power, and Duckville could not understand why swans on them turned sour. By this time, Duckville was a mess. The young ducks had gone mad. They stole and laughed at truth and law. They'd gone completely bad. The hens were selling loco weed in every nasty den, but ducks who dared to mention this were labeled anti-hen. The hens all preached of tolerance. They invoked the golden rule, but they subsided the indigent, the greedy, and the fool. At last, the very dumbest ducks began to smell a rat.
This mayor is no good,
They cried,
and we will soon fix that.
but the hens had planned for even this. A candidate they had, whom even wise old ducks believed just never could be bad. This hen-tool duck had whipped the geese. A soldier duck was he. Although the hens had set him up, the ducks all thought him free. This hen-tool got elected through ignorance and greed, through hennish lies in press and speech, and bribes of chicken feed. The hens now kicked the ducks around without a blush of shame until the mayor ran the town in nothing else but name. They pumped the swimming pond all dry. They taught the ducks to crow. While duckish numbers dwindled, the hens began to grow. The hens stirred up the happy crows from out the piney wood to fight and mix and marry ducks in the name of brotherhood. Things got so bad that 50 ducks, who knew of days gone by, took up their wives and children and decided that they'd fly. They flew through storm and tempest. They froze and many died. But on they drove until at last a lovely lake they spied. They settled down exhausted, but soon went straight to work. To build and clear and cultivate, no danger did they shirk. Now, after many years of toil, this little band had grown. The fields around were full of grain from seeds that they had sown. The first ducks now were long since dead. Their struggles long had ceased. Through hard work and through suffering, their joys had been increased. One day down near the entrance gate there was an awful din. 100 hens, all out of breath, were begging to come in.
Oh, let us in,
These poor birds cried.
before we do expire. 'Tis only by the merest inch.
This epic has no end because no matter how you fight 'em, those hens will show up every time, and so ad infinitum.
Oy vey!
Yeah, interesting story, folks. The fable of the ducks and the hens. Same thing has been going on for years and years and is continuing. Been about a week, a little bit over a week maybe, since I brought you a video. I'm here in Croatia still. I went and spoke at Liberland last week, which was an interesting experience that I'll get to in a little while. But in the meantime, like, the whole world's continued to go nuts as we knew it would. Big earthquake in Colombia, similar to what we saw in Venezuela. Buildings collapsing, not to the extent that we saw in Venezuela, but a lot of buildings collapsing like right across the city simultaneously. 7.4 earthquake, I think it was.
Dios amado, acaba de temblar en Cali de la cosa más horrible de este mundo. Mire cómo se ve la ciudad. Mire cómo se ve la ciudad. Dios mío, el temblor. O sea, Jesús bendito, ¿qué fue lo que acaba de vivir Cali? ¿Qué acaba de vivir Cali?
Daños completos.
Pereira. Vámonos que...
Yeah, pretty bad earthquake. And all the other stuff's just continuing. You know, the genocide of Gaza is continuing, the genocide of Lebanon is continuing, the theatre with Iran is continuing. Like I said before, they seem to have like war on the weekends and then negotiate during the week. None of it makes sense. Iran has apparently said they're not even going to bother negotiating anymore, if they even have been to begin with. And they're just going to leave the Straits of Hormuz closed until 2029 when Trump's tenure finishes. So it's all just affecting the supply chain. Like I said before, you know, if Iran really wanted to take out Israel, well, they're certainly missing a golden opportunity to do it, because the whole world wants Israel to go down. Israel is currently the most hated nation on earth. Israeli tourists arriving in Greece are getting attacked when they arrive in Greece. And this is happening all over the place. Nobody wants Israelis visiting their country anymore. That's just basically the way it is. So, you know, if Iran destroyed the state of Israel, the only people who would complain would be the American politicians that are continuing to support the state of Israel. So there's no reason for them not to do it unless they're a player in the big game, and this is all about shutting down the supply chain, but doing it in a gradual way, so it looks kind of like an organic event when it isn't. Yeah, back here on the fig farm, folks, it's a good day out here. The mountains, it's absolutely beautiful in Croatia. I really love coming here. But yeah, just the world's just continuing. You know, Trump's still doing his shit. Trump's just a stupid fool. He's an evil man. He's an evil man because he had evil parents, and together with other people they constructed and perpetuated an evil system. And that's the thing, you know, it's the system itself.
The best way to gain control of the most intelligent species on the planet would be to completely divide them from the love within themselves. As soon as a child is old enough to think for themselves, you force them into a system that teaches them to conform. You make them sit in a building every day, memorizing the exact same answers, so they never learn how to actually question the world around them. Then you only show them tragedy and violence on the news. Why? Because a society living in constant fear will never trust each other. You convince them that humanity has never been smarter than we are right now. So they never look back and question the integrity of the system they are trapped in. You make money the center of their entire existence, but you make it so hard to get that they are always struggling. You drain their energy for 5 straight days, then hand them 2 days off so they feel just enough of a reward to stay quiet and not fight back, to keep them numb on those 2 days off. You push them to consume literal poison at every social event. You pump their cheap everyday food full of sugar and addictive chemicals. And when that garbage food finally makes them sick, you sell them highly expensive pills that don't actually cure them, but just mask the symptoms, so they are dependent on the medical system forever. It is the perfect trap. You keep them tired, sick, broke, and divided in 100 different ways, so they never realize they have the power to just walk out of the cage.
With all the stuff that's going on, I mean, even the Israeli question, the Jewish question, I suspect that they want the world to hate them, because they want Jews all around the world to be hated, so that they've got nowhere else to go but Israel, and then Israel will have the numbers it needs to populate Greater Israel and all the things it wants to do, build its third temple, all the stuff it wants to do. I honestly can't see them completing this third temple by October 2nd, 2027 either, like not the way things are going. I mean, time's certainly getting away. They need to destroy Al-Aqsa Mosque, and they need to build the third temple and anoint their Messiah before, or by, October 2nd, 2027, according to some rabbis. That's when it must be done by. They got all the temple ready and fabricated and ready to go. Whether they're going to do it is another thing. But what they're also doing, I mean, the whole world is moving into this technological nightmare. Even like, for example, my son in Australia, I've got a car that I've still got in Australia, it's still registered. And I've given it to my son, I just want to give him the car. In order to do it online, because obviously I'm not physically there to sign any papers, in order to do it online, I have to register on or log into my MyGov account, my.gov.au account. Well, for a start, it isn't MyGov, it's their Gov. And I don't have a MyGov account, and I don't want one. And in order for me to create one, I need to create a digital ID. This is how they're doing it in Australia. So in order for me to give my car to my son, to give my son a registered car, I have to provide a digital ID to the Australian government. You believe this shit? So of course I'm not going to do it. So I'll probably just let the car run out of rego and he can just have the car and register it again and whatever, you know. So interesting how they're doing this sort of shit. It's really going crazy in Australia. They've actually, there's one guy, I think he's possibly facing 5 years, at least 1 year, but possibly 5 years, because he emailed his local MP numerous times asking him to address the situation in Gaza, and now he is facing jail time because of that. And if that doesn't sound dystopian and Orwellian enough, the new police squad that is carrying out this investigation is called the Social Cohesion Squad. Social cohesion. That's an interesting terminology, isn't it? You know, technology is taking over everything, and it's really having a major negative effect on humankind. You know, it's okay for people like my age and people even younger than me, depending on the environment they're in, of course. I mean, I know young people here in Croatia, like 19, 20, 22 years old, that are quite, you know, connected to nature, connected to all things good. But many people in larger cities, they're very connected to the internet and peer group pressure and all the stuff that goes on there, more than connected to themselves and their family and nature. And it's having a really negative effect. We know the birth rate is really dropping, and this is also being brought about due to the internet, due to technology. People don't really know how to communicate to people anymore. You know, there's no social interaction on a base level. Even if, you know, a guy was to go out to a nightclub and ask a girl to dance, that can be seen as sexual harassment these days. So where do you draw the line? How do young people meet each other? What, online? But when they're online, they use all these filters and they don't really look like what they pretend they do. And even if they do, they've lost all of their personal communication and interaction skills, the sorts of stuff children grow up interacting with each other, and they get older and they have, you know, beach parties when they're teenagers and do all sorts of stuff. We all did this when we were kids. Modern day kids don't get that. And so that's destroying society as well. And it's also having a huge effect on the population growth.
I'm 30 years old. Not one of my friends has children. Zero. No one. No one's having kids. Do you know how hard you need to abuse a mammal to make them not have children? Like for real. Like let's step here back a moment, right?
Never thought of it that way.
Yeah, look, GDP goes up. People have have enough food, you know, and whatever. No one's having kids, and this is across the world. This is across both the West, the East, you know, everywhere it's happening. So there's a thing that happens, especially with younger like even younger than me. Like the kids are like 18 today. There's a huge problem where they don't dance. No one dances. They go to clubs and they don't dance. Why is this? Because you get recorded.
Yeah.
If you're an 18-year-old kid, you go to a club, you get recorded. If you approach a girl and you mess it up, you get recorded. Everything is the panopticon now. So if you had to ask me why, my answer is technology. My answer is social media. My answer is AI. My answer is algorithms. Do you know what dating app algorithms do? Do you know how they optimize? They don't optimize you to meet your love of your life. They optimize you to keep coming back to the app.
Yeah.
And now there's a thing that basically we have sold out all of our dating norms, all of our, you know, interpersonal norms to tech companies without our consent to optimize their ad algorithm. I think there's a deep thing where we as a society have not dealt with the fact that we have to steward technology responsibly. We have treated technology as a Wild West.
Absolutely.
Just everyone can do whatever they want, you know. Just sell all of our younger generation's dating lives to corporations for profit. And who pays the cost for this? Who has liability? So I think the real problem is that we are, as a society, as a government, the generations that came before me, and also my generation, I don't want to exclude myself from this, but also the generation came before me, just let technology rip. The promise was, if you let technology rip, if you let internet rip, there will be democracy and freedom and happiness and economic growth. And where is that? And I think my generation is noticing that broken promise.
And that's really important stuff, folks. It's a really astute observation by that young guy. You know, people are really giving themselves over to technology, and it's robbing them of their humanity. And this is something I've been saying for years and years. You know, in the text at the bottom of every video, if you click the show notes and click plus more, you'll see links to the shows, and you also see at the bottom, throw away your smartphone. Turn off your television, throw away your smartphone. I've been saying this for so long, and this is the solution. People have got to disconnect themselves from the digital world. I mean, sure, it's okay to use it. I'm using it to talk to you guys. but I'm not connected to it all the time. I don't take a smartphone with me everywhere I go. I don't shop with cards. I don't leave a digital trail everywhere I go. You know, and the way they're tricking people into doing it, now you've got to have your digital ID in order to participate in the system. Like me even trying to give my old car to my son. I can't do it without a digital ID. Since when? Unbelievable. This is the stuff they're doing. And all the new cars and all the stuff they're doing, these can all be remote controlled as well. And they admit this. I mean, your car spies on you. You got these new digital cars with these screens and all this sort of stuff going on. All this digital connection. Your car's actually online. And it's watching your eyes, it's watching your micro expressions and all sorts of stuff, totally analysing you. Everything you do gets analysed these days, and there are special filters created to create profiles of you. It goes so deeply, and all of it falls apart if people simply stop using the tech. Stop using apps on your phone, especially if you have to get them through Google Play Store, because as soon as you put an app on your phone that you get through Google, then Google controls you. Google is monitoring you, everything you do. You know, we could change the world in a day if people would simply stop taking cell phones with them everywhere and stop shopping with credit cards. That would be a huge step forward. But people just won't do it. But there's been observations now which show that cars, modern cars, all these online cars can be remote controlled.
You know, when the Vault 7 documents were released back in, what was it, 2017?
What are those?
There was a CIA computer engineer named Joshua Schulte, who swears that he's innocent, but is now serving a sentence of 40 years for espionage. He was allegedly a disgruntled engineer. He didn't like his boss. He didn't like his coworkers. They didn't like him. So he just downloaded the crown jewels of the Directorate of Science and Technology and sent it all to WikiLeaks in 2017. Google Vault 7 documents, Vault 7 revelations. It will knock your socks off. Thousands and thousands of pages. It makes what Chelsea Manning leaked look like, you know, scrawl from a sixth grader. So he revealed that the CIA has developed technologies to, for example, remotely take over your car by hacking into the chip, right? Why would the CIA want to take over your car? To make you drive off a bridge, maybe? To make you drive into a tree and kill yourself? To make you drive into an abutment and make sure that there's no way you can survive because they've got the thing going 140 miles an hour and you can't control it? They developed technology to reverse your smart TV to make the speaker into a microphone with the TV still appearing to be off. So you don't know that it's broadcasting everything that's being said in your house to CIA headquarters. I mean, there's almost too much in Vault 7 to even go into. It's incredible. I'm going to give a talk about it at a hacker conference this coming weekend. So, you know, couple what the CIA was trying to do in the 50s with MKUltra and its subcomponents compared to what it is technologically able to do today. And it is terrifying.
And this is what killed Anne Hesh. Remember when Anne Hesh died and that car was screaming down the road and you could hear the brakes screaming? She had her foot jammed on the brakes. And the car just kept going and it just crashed into a house at the end of the street. And then Anne Hesh was trying to climb out of a body bag. I'm sure you've all seen the footage. This is all confirmed now. This is all stuff that we've been saying for years and it's all confirmed. Another thing that's happened actually here in Croatia is there were some really bad fires in Croatia. It's really, really dry here. I mean, it would be so easy for a fire to come through here. It's incredibly dry. Very, very hot, very unusually hot. But just recently there were fires through a town just near Split called Omis. And again we saw cars burnt, trees not so burnt. I mean, there was trees burning. I have seen footage of the fires and it was sweeping through the forest, but many of the trees are still good. What is not good is the houses. And interestingly, houses with blue roofs. There's a house here with a blue roof and it looks perfectly fine underneath. There's a amenities block that looks perfectly fine as well. There's this other scene and there's this wall. I don't know whether it's a concrete wall or whether it's a wooden billboard. I suspect it's a concrete wall, which would explain why it didn't burn, because it's concrete. But you think it would be singed like other things in the area. But the interesting thing is that what appears to be standing in front of it, I asked the Croatian people what they think this is, and they said that's a jumping castle. Which is what, a plastic jumping castle? It's still there and not burnt. That's pretty strange, don't you think? I mean, that's if that's what it is. You know, people just don't understand how far this technology goes and what they can do with all this technology, new drone technology and stuff. I've shown you, I think, I did a report and I showed you that there are Israeli settlers that are now being issued with drones that have got guns on them. And these guys sit in stolen Palestinian homes with their big screen TVs with like Xbox controllers, and they're flying these drones around and just chasing Palestinians and shooting them using drones. This drone technology is really going ahead in leaps and bounds, and people don't realise the threat that this is creating and what this can be used for in the wrong hands. And it's really important that they do. And it's really gone to next levels. You know, they're actually harvesting trees with drones now, and they're chopping all the branches off and chopping the tree down, cutting the tree down, and actually taking the trunk off using drones. Yeah, so perhaps this is what we're seeing with these fires. I mean, who knows, folks? I saw an interesting interview the other day on X, and I don't know whether it's a setup or what, but if it isn't, I don't know, it's a kind of an interesting off-the-cuff comment.
Yoni.
Yeah?
Yoni.
Yoni.
It's Israeli.
It's Israeli.
Yeah.
Anti-Semitism is rising.
It is.
It is.
True.
So give them a specific reason to like you or Jewish people.
We're great. We're great. We have a space laser.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Space laser.
If you don't like us, just make sure to watch the forests nearby.
Okay. What? I don't know what that means. The forest nearby.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Like I said, I don't know whether that is staged or not. But hey, I'll just share anyway and you can make your own mind up. I still haven't quite made mine up. But people don't realise how much this technology, this use of cell phones, all this stuff is being used against you. Even with targeting drones. Most of this, if it isn't just being done random line of sight, then it's being done through tracking people by their cell phone signals and their earphones, you know, their Wi-Fi AirPods or whatever they're called. These things give out a Wi-Fi beep every 30 seconds or so as well, same as your cell phone. All this stuff is used to track and trace you. And what's happening now in Australia, I think in Western Australia, which is a blatant police state, is they can now clone your phone at a traffic stop.
So this device makes a complete clone of your phone, copying your contacts, messages, your photos, all of your system files, even things that you've deleted, and it does it in minutes. And soon the Australian police will be able to do this to you at a traffic stop. On Friday, the New South Wales Minns government actually introduced legislation that would give police effectively unfettered powers, including at roadside stops, to use military-grade Israeli-built mobile phone spyware, universally known as a universal forensic extraction device, widely used by ICE and border security agents in the US and around the world. And if this passes, other states in Australia are likely going to follow. So this is how it works. Police basically stop you at a traffic stop, request your phone, which you must give without a warrant, and force you to unlock the device to do the extraction. But don't fret, if you refuse to give your face or your PIN, they can still use the same software to brute force your PIN, even up to 6 digits. And once they have it, it takes only a few minutes for police to actually select your phone type, the version of your operating system, and undertake complete extraction, which takes your contacts, photos, messages, everything that's encrypted, because it makes your phone basically accessible because it's a complete clone of your phone. So it allows police to basically browse it like a real-time device. So the tool is not new. It's been used for decades by police, border security, but for cases where there's a murder or a kidnapper or mobile forensics is needed for a major crime to extract everything from the phone. But now New South Wales police want the power to do this at a traffic stop. And wait, I'm not finished. The legislation will actually allow police to take unredacted images from toll road cameras and add them to the National Facial Recognition Database. And it also expands the digital evidence access order, so a device can actually be searched without a warrant or a crime scene, and it overrides the common law protection against self-incrimination, which is insane.
There's such a huge abuse of power. And if you are doing everything on your cell phone, or your surfing activity, or your internet activity, all this sort of stuff, all on a cell phone, then because they always get you to identify yourself and your name and your birthday and all this sort of stuff with any type of new SIM card, they can trace this back. Once they get hold of one of your phones and they get hold of your biometrics, they can trace this back through every number you ever had, all of your photos, way back to like MySpace and all this sort of stuff. They can get your entire internet history. There's ways of running a computer and not signing on and not being on, OneDrive and all this sort of stuff. Like OneDrive is essentially malware, which will allow you to store only so much stuff on your computer, because it will mirror everything on your computer on OneDrive so that you can access all your stuff everywhere around the world. No, it isn't. So they've got clones of all your stuff. And once your little drive there is filled up, they'll ask you to buy more space on it. And if you don't, they'll delete the files on there so you can fit new stuff on. And when they delete the files that are stored online on the cloud on OneDrive, they also delete them from your hard drive. So it's essentially malware. So I'm not on OneDrive, I'm not signed into Google, I'm not signed into Microsoft or any of that sort of stuff, because I don't want them to have clones of all of my things, and I have not linked my cell phone to my computer. You know, I'd use my cell phone simply to download airline tickets, and that link comes from an email. So none of my devices are linked up, and I don't ever go online using a cell phone. But yeah, they're now cloning people's cell phones in Australia. And it's pretty freaky. That's why you shouldn't have these things. You got to step away from all of that tech. And why would you be doing any of this anyway? I mean, these people are criminals. They're criminals. Why are you giving them all your information? It isn't a matter of you having nothing to hide. It's a matter of them having everything to hide and them wanting to know who is talking about them. That's why they want access to all your stuff. It isn't for convenience for you, and it isn't a matter of if you've got nothing to hide, then you've got nothing to fear. Same goes for them. If they've got nothing to hide, then they have nothing to fear with us having privacy. Problem is they have a hell of a lot to hide. All the Epstein files, all this shit that has come out about the elite, stuff we've been saying for years, and stuff that's absolutely true. You know, the world's run by criminals, folks. It's run by criminals. These people torture, rape, kill, eat children, create all these unnecessary wars, which are all about just killing people, not defending anybody against anything. They haven't gone into Iran to defend the place or to free the people or anything. They're not in there to stop them getting a nuclear weapon. I mean, it keeps changing all the time why they're in there. Now they're in there to try to get them to force to open the Straits of Hormuz, which were open before they went in there. I mean, it's freaking nuts. Like I said, Trump's just a moron. He's an evil man, he had evil parents, and he just does evil things. He's profited so intensely out of all this, written legislation or executive orders exempting himself and his entire family from auditing for the rest of their life, like for eternity. So it's just ridiculous. I don't know how anybody is buying into anything any of these people are selling. This war in Iran, all of it. I don't know how anybody is buying into any of it. And in trying to free ourselves from this incredibly corrupt system, I mean, that's why I started doing these walk and talks and doing what I do, making videos years ago, making movies, doing the radio show that I did for years. I kind of miss that. You know, when I used to open with a quote and just be a talking voice without any visuals, you know, I used to enjoy it. You know, I used to post the radio shows on YouTube and put some, you know, illustrative pictures along with it. Those were good days. And I did a lot of stuff on spiritual topics, meditation, trying to help people believe in themselves to prevent this from coming. I never did any of it for money, for financial gain, and I still don't. God, if I was doing it for financial gain, I would have given up long ago, because there's very little of that to be had. As you all know, like, I've never set up a subscriber section, I've never had anything for sale. I've pointed to some fundraisers that are being run by other people, like my friend Nadal in Gaza, my friend Omar, things like this, but even those, I've never set up the fundraisers myself. I just believe in the cause, and so I promoted it on a few occasions. I've never done any of this for money. I've done this because it needs to be done. It's so important that people believe in themselves and realize the power that we have. Like I said, if people would just stop carrying their cell phones around with them everywhere, stop using this wireless tech, stop shopping with cards all the time and leaving a paper trail. I mean, if you're complaining about data centers, but you carry a cell phone with you everywhere you go, you use earpods and you shop with a card, then why are you complaining about the data centers? I mean, all that data you're creating, which is being created by billions of people, needs to be kept somewhere and stored somewhere. The transactions need to happen somewhere. If people are going to be driving electric cars and remote controlled cars and having robots do this and robots do that, having robot driven drones, be using AI, all the stuff that people are doing, then you need the data centers, don't you? Something else I think the data centers are doing actually is basically destroying potable water on Earth. I don't think they need water to function, these data centers, but they're using an immense amount of water. And I think this is simply to destroy the water. But people are participating in their own slavery, and that is the problem. We can blame anybody we like, but it's got to come from within us. we've got to be prepared to know what our own sovereignty means and to be able to stand in that. Even with joining organisations and things that claim to be showing you the way forward. Sure, we need unity, we need things that are going to work, but sometimes they come in cloaked as that, but they're actually something else. Now, speaking of that, at Liverpool this year, I was actually given 2 talks. I was given 2 speaking slots. This has never happened to me in all the time I've been doing conferences. In the last, 15 years of speaking at events, there's never been one event where I've been given 2 speaking slots. First one was about 40 minutes or 45 minutes. The second one was 30 minutes, 35 minutes. I thought that's strange for this to happen, but it just worked out that way. In between those 2 slots, we had a couple of politicians speak. One was a Croatian politician, I can't remember his name, and the other was a Dutch politician by the name of Thierry Baudet.
I was the only elected politician in the Western world openly to speak out against every aspect of the COVID measures. Not a single other elected politician in Europe opposed the lockdowns.
Now, I had just prior to his talk come across a picture which I found quite disturbing. Admittedly, this shot was taken in 2016. That's 10 years ago. And here's this guy speaking today, and he's talking about libertarianism and a way to bring younger people into the movement. But when I'm listening to this guy's talk, I'm hearing it through the filter of the t-shirt he was wearing in 2016. And what I heard was a perfect description of the cult-like nature of how Israeli society is set up. He was talking about creating a system whereby you bring children in at 4 or 5 years old and you basically indoctrinate them into your cult, and you create up a system of interdependency. Interdependency is not independence. It's not independency, it's codependency. So we bring these children in 4 or 5 years old and we send them through our schooling system, and this creates codependence and interdependence because we need caterers, and the caterers will then be dependent upon our company. They've got to do what we say, and they're not going to want to leave and blah, 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 because we are providing their income, blah, 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 and create this whole ecosystem, and even possibly be there and encourage the children as they get through the scholastic system, be there to help them through their first erotic experience, help them find their partner, all this sort of stuff. Red flags, all of it. And create a system whereby it's like one big family, and you're never going to want to leave that system because you will be ostracized. You'll feel like you've done the wrong thing. It's like it will be a perfect indoctrination system. And all this will be run through apps and blah, blah, blah. And he even talked about sending out AI-powered newsletters to people, so that when they send out a newsletter, the AI, as soon as you open it, it starts mapping your profile, and it learns a lot about you, and it learns what sort of newsletter you're going to respond to. And so all you need to do is put in a basic outline of what you want your newsletter to be, feed it into the AI, and the AI will construct a unique newsletter for every person out there that will be tailored to fit their type of mental stimulus and their type of mental interests. So you won't even see the finished product that is being sent out to these people, but it will be designed in such a way as to inculcate them into your system.
And there's JFE, that's the youth movement. It's the largest youth movement in the Benelux, so larger than any other political movement for youngsters in the Netherlands, in Belgium, in Luxembourg. We are penetrating the colleges, the universities.
What we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, is that we penetrate the cabinets.
We are even becoming more and more outspoken in high schools. By far, we are dominating the youth. And that's something I think for Liberland that's super important. Where are the 20-year-old people, right? How do you engage them? And let me tell you what the key to this is. It's not necessarily ideology. It's not lectures on Hegel or Adorno or whatever. It is, or Rothbard for that matter, it's social. We make sure they have their first real friendships within our community. They maybe have their first erotic relationships in our community. They play sports. It's sexy. It's energized. It's everything that is completely lacking in the boring high school world, in the college world. Everything that's lacking, that's what we're providing. We have an academy that is for 24, 25-year-old people, where they retreat for 3 or 4 days. And we're doing it 2, 3, 4 times a year. And all these people are high potentials. They start taking jobs at the judiciary, at government bureaucracy, at universities, in international and multinational corporations. So they keep returning every year. Every class has its own color. This is the color of the class of 2026, number 1. We have 2 classes per year. So they have a color. Whenever they return on their reunions, they wear these colors, they wear these shirts. So they have this sense of identification. If they drop out, if they turn their backs to us, it comes with a huge social price because these are their friends. They know things from each other. They know their secrets. Then there is the elementary school that we've set up. And that's also something, of course, we're starting really young, 4 or 5 years old, but ultimately it may grow into a high school. And this is a key word that if you're only going to take home one word from what I'm trying to convey to you, what I'm trying to tell you, it's the word ecosystem. This school builds an ecosystem with teachers. We have caterers, people that are cooking for the kids. We have people that are coming to play music for the kids. And all these people, they're going to get money from us. They're going to become dependent on us. And in that way, the ecosystem builds. And that is the thing that is precisely has been lacking in our side of the political spectrum. And it all comes down ultimately to something I've launched that I'm really proud of. It's called the Forum app. It's an app on your phone. It's rather like the Liberland app, but much better. It's high trust, it's direct, and it works. And I think this is what Liberland should implement as well. If you pay through the app, and you pay through the crypto exchange that may be connected to this, you pay and you get a mutual air miles kind of saving award because you do business with each other. And you staple awards in that way by creating interdependence. And you have your own cryptocurrency, the Liber coin or whatever we want to call it, based on an actual, hopefully private blockchain. Then that could create a community, I think, of hundreds of thousands of people. What we have created, 80,000 paying members for this. If you imagine what that can mean at a global scale, I think that's the path forward. And that's also a way to accumulate power, ultimately. Because if it's just a couple of people who have a claim to a particular piece of land, it's one thing. But if it's a community of hundreds of thousands of freedom-minded people that are each supporting the network through their active participation in the app, and they're doing that not just because they're ideologically aligned, but because they have a direct socio-economic advantage because of it, then there's a real real upside to joining it. There's a real reason to continue to support it. And you can even say that every transaction supports the Liberland organization with 1 cent or with 10 cents or whatever. So it's also very good for the organization of Liberland, because you can acquire, well, we wouldn't call it taxation, would we, Fit? But it's almost like that. It's like support. I've built my own email newsletter platform, which uses AI to generate profiles of all the recipients of your newsletter. Of course, we take into account all the privacy regulations, but it's done in an anonymized way. But after 5 or 6 newsletters, the newsletter platform can determine what kind of newsletter you, as a recipient, are likely to engage with. And it develops versions of it. So let's say you have a 10,000 email address database, and you are pitching an Acapulco. Now, one newsletter is written, and it's sent out to 10,000 addresses. With our platform, you write a basic newsletter, and then it goes through an AI analyzer, and maybe 25 versions are created. And all these separate type of persons that are recipients of your newsletter receive a newsletter that is likely to engage you. And it's absurd that not a single company exists that has done so. We are the first ones to launch it. But the results are amazing. The conversion rate just exponentially increases, because the AI continues to analyze the behavior of the recipient of the newsletter. And then this is not my company, but it's something that I've supported, which is Monflow, which is the first bank set up by a friend of mine. It's not a bank, actually. It's purposefully not a bank, but it provides IBANs, an IBAN account connected to a crypto exchange. And this is an example of the kind of business I think you need to connect to the future Liberland app, where people have an IBAN account with a crypto exchange, so they can pay in crypto when they connect to each other and seamlessly shift from their normal IBAN fiat system to the crypto system, which is supported by the Liberland community. I'm willing to offer any ideas, services, counseling for, should there be people here that are willing to take steps along this path.
And after this presentation, when I asked him help, just it was the question if he can help me and give me some contact of some lawyer in Netherlands. He just said, I can't help you, and turned the head without no comments.
And I truly wish you guys all the best, because ever since I got in touch with libertarian ideas in the early days of my college years, I was struck by them, the beauty of them, the sincerity of it, the integrity of the people furthering these ideas.
I'm looking at all this and I'm going, this is a red flag. I mean, this is like this Israeli Mossad system attempting to infiltrate early, bring young people into it and inculcate them and indoctrinate them into this Israeli supremacist cult-like ideology. Crazy stuff. I mean, it's very deceptive the way they do things. They say that to be a Jew, it means your mother must be a Jew. They teach sexual promiscuity and sexual activation for Jewish girls at a very young age and teach them to be very sexually active and to use sex as a tool in order to get more people to support Israel.
For a long time, Israel has used sex to sell Zionism, to convince people that Israel is a hot fantasy being realized by hot people, not a racist settler colony built on the killing, displacement, and erasure of the indigenous Palestinians. This is intentional, and there are 3 reasons why. They involve Israel's invention in the past, cover-up in the present, and survival for the future. And this all started when Zionists first started plotting for the creation of a Jewish homeland in the late 1800s.
So you have a really sexy Jewish woman. And what is a sexy woman? Well, what is generally a sexy woman according to society is what is portrayed on the television, what is portrayed in the movies. According to Western standards, that is beauty. It's physical, sexual beauty. Everything has a sexual nature. Look at Gal Gadot through Wonder Woman, you know, with the little eyes and little smiles and the short skirt and all this sort of stuff designed to stimulate young boys. So you get Jewish women go out there and basically seduce men from Western society, get pregnant, have children, and the children are Jews because they've got a Jewish mother. Whether you marry the woman or not, it doesn't matter. So this is kind of how they do it. Very, very deceptive. And they're setting up enclaves all over the world, blah, blah, blah. We've gone through all this before. But I'm seeing all this happen, and then I saw all this happen at the event. This guy's come along, and I heard the first part of his talk, and I thought, this guy's a politician. I don't really need to listen to what he's saying. And I went out to find the head of the event, Catherine, to show her this picture I'd found. But I couldn't find it, so I walked back into his talk and then heard the rest of it, and it was just red flag after red flag. So my talk on the next day, I said, hey, infiltration takes many forms, and the Mossad motto is, by way of deception we shall do war. And this is how they have managed to take over most of the world and do what they're doing. And that's what they do intend to do, folks, is to take over the world. It should be very obvious to everybody by now. But yeah, I was questioning the whole hoax and all sorts of stuff at the event, and I think it's important that everybody does. But it's the tech, again, it's the technology that's causing all of these problems. And here's this guy, this Dutch politician, saying we need to use technology and use apps so that we're all trading and working with each other. And as I said, any apps that you install on your tracking device, this cell phone that people carry around, and even the fact that they're carrying it around, all of this is trackable and traceable. And this is a way of identifying people who are all connected, a resistance movement, because they're all using this app. All you got to do is log on, get that app, and it's all secure and it's just us and we all network with each other. Yeah, but who are the people you're networking with? Are they all voluntarists and libertarians and anarchists and all this sort of stuff? Or are they infiltrators? And why are they suggesting you use something that you have to have and get through Google Play? I mean, Google basically controls all this sort of shit. You've really got to be careful with what you're getting involved in this whole movement. Like I said, I joined this movement, or I didn't even join the movement. I started speaking out about what's going on in the world. I didn't consider it a movement at the time. It's kind of a movement now, like a giant turd. But anyway, I started on this path and started doing what I do because I could see what was coming. I could see it when I was a child. I could see it later when I was in high school. I could see it later in years after that as well, but there were always gaps in between where I simply just stepped outside the matrix, worked in rock and roll bands and didn't care. Didn't care what the world was doing because I figured they're all nuts and none of it matters. You know, we can see the big conspiracy, we can see everything that's going on, but hey, what can I do about it? There's nothing I can do about it, so why bother with it? It wasn't until 9/11 happened that I thought, oh shit, this stuff's actually important, and all this stuff that I thought was going to happen in my son's lifetime is actually going to happen in my lifetime. And that's when I started speaking out. And like I said, I did it because it needs to be done. And I still do it because it needs to be done. We can change everything ourselves. All we have to do is believe in ourselves. And sure, technology could be used to improve our lives. Everything that this Dutch politician was saying, apps and all this sort of stuff, this could be used to do all the good stuff that he talks about. It makes it sound so rosy and so perfect. But if we don't factor in the reality that the world is run by criminals, it doesn't matter what organisation we set up, we've already lost because it will be infiltrated. This is what I said with the whole Bitcoin revolution, the cryptocurrency revolution. It's a great idea, great concept that these guys are putting together. The only downside being that you have to use the internet, but that doesn't matter as long as you factor in the reality that the world is run by criminals. Because if you allow this criminal cabal to remain in power while you move into this digital reality, then you've got to understand they're going to see what you're doing, they're going to let you build it, then they're going to create an umbrella over the top of it whereby they control the entire thing. Which is exactly what they've done. Social crediting, the fact that I've got to create a digital ID in order to sell or give my son my car. In order to give a present to my son, I need a digital ID simply because that present is registered. So I just fucking let the rego run out and then re-register it again. Let it run out, I've left the country, just take control of it as an unclaimed vehicle or whatever and register the thing yourself with the new plates and it doesn't matter, you know. So the fact that all this stuff is happening, I mean, it's happening through our compliance. Like I said, this is all the stuff that we warned you of, and the only way of stopping it is for you to wake up and you to stop using all this shit. I mean, cloning phones in Australia at a traffic stop, how long before this comes to the United States? What, you think First Amendment, Second Amendment, all this stuff's going to protect you from any of this? The Fifth Amendment, you think any of it is going to protect you? You think they care about that shit? You know, you have God-given rights to live your life the way you choose to live your life. You shouldn't have to pay to be alive. All this whole payment system that's been constructed, this is so the elites can just laugh at you. They just sit at the top thinking, well, these people actually think they have to buy shit. They actually can't see the abundance of the earth around them and think they have to pay for stuff. Of course, they've made sure that you are in a state of shortage and food shortage by the destruction of all the food forests, all the stuff that I showed you on the last report that I did. But okay, we know this now, so let's change it. So we know these people did this, we know the sort of system they're running, we know these people lied about COVID, we know that they killed thousands, if not millions of people with their ridiculous jab. We know they've lied about everything. They're lying about the war in Iraq. They're profiting massively, making you pay to be alive and keeping everybody in a state of scarcity. We know they all are Epstein people who torture, rape, kill, terrorise and eat children. So why don't we just turn our back on all of this and support each other? Put the tech down that they're using to enslave you and support each other. I don't know, it makes pretty good sense to me. Yeah, and that's the message, and that's always been the message. That's what I've tried to say to people for the last 15, 16 years on these shows. It's all about us. Sure, the Jews do terrible things, the Freemasons do terrible things, the Jesuits, Muslims do terrible things, religionists in general do terrible fucking things. That's just the way religion is. But us, what about us? It all happens because we stay silent and we comply with it. That's what creates the shadow. It's our failure to acknowledge the existence of the shadow, which means these people just get away with anything they want because we're too concerned with ourselves to think about anybody else. And all the spiritual understandings and all this stuff that we get, we don't apply it to the world that we live in. The spiritual values that you hold, the value of in lakesh, that's what changes things. So frustrating, folks. It's so frustrating. You know, sometimes I wonder whether we'll make it through it all. You know, in many ways, I guess this is the way it has to go, because this is the way it is going. My great hope is that there will be enough awake sparks of consciousness with enough life skills to be able to make it through to the other side. That would be great, for consciousness to come through. And in many ways, I think the system kind of has to crash and burn for that to happen. I can't really see any way to make it through this in the system that we got. But yeah, I think that's all I've got to say, folks. Let me have a look at the list I've got here. Oh yeah, there's a rally in Australia on October or August 30th, which is just in a couple of weeks. And it's a rally to make a stand against all of this mass surveillance system that they're rolling out. All of this cloning your cell phone and all this sort of crap. I think it's going to be Australia-wide.
There's something going on in Australia they really don't want you talking about. It's not how broke everyone is and how bad the crime's getting. It's not immigration and the shady lobby groups controlling the government and pushing for more immigration. It's not billions in NDIS fraud taken from the taxpayer. And it's not gender ideology propaganda in primary schools. It's more serious than all of that. Think North Korea type shit, like banning political parties, censoring journalists, and 15 years jail for being right-wing and training together in a park. If you've been paying attention, you'll know I'm not kidding. In September, the presiding government, the Labor Party, will put its new anti-freedom hate crime laws to the test in the High Court of Australia. These laws will rush through after the Bondi shooting, but they don't even address terrorism. They just allow the government to ban speech, ban political parties, and send people to jail for a long time, even if they haven't done anything technically criminal. It's all for speech and political control. There's never been anything like this in the history of Australia. It's the most serious thing that's ever happened to our country. But the good news is there seems to be an organic public response in favour of free speech and free electoral process. I'm seeing these rallies on August 30th being organised right now on socials, and I want everyone watching this to talk about that and amplify the message. Because the way law works is for the protection of the public. So what the government's going to say to the High Court judges is they need to be able to ban political parties and shut down free speech and free electoral process to protect us, for our protection. So in summary, the government has drafted up these hardcore laws which shut down free expression and your right to vote freely. They're saying they're doing it to protect you. They're going to lie to the High Court in September, and it's essential that Aussies call out that lie. So I'm filming this to tell you guys about the rally's being organised on August 30th. If you want more people to see this, know about this, if you want more people to see this video, you'll have to share it yourself, like re-upload it yourself, because they've banned me from everything. So re-upload this video if you care to. Tell your mates, tell the boys, because August 30, whoever's organising that, I'm behind them 100%. This is really important.
I suggest another trek to Parliament House in Canberra and to not go away this time, to hold these people's feet to the fire. Go to the Governor-General and tell them you wish to express a loss of confidence in the Australian government and put forth a motion to dissolve the current government of Australia and put something else in place. If you have to have government, and I guess you do, because most people are too stupid to know how to govern themselves. But don't trust any of the politicians you've got in power, folks. Certainly not the current crop of criminals or the opposition or Pauline Hanson. I mean, she is a snake in the grass. She's like the Trump of Australia, and Trump is an absolute snake in the grass. One of the most evil men ever to sit in the Oval Office. And Pauline Hanson is a total Zionist stooge. She will sell the country out. Do not trust this woman at all. But we need major change, we really do. I mean, we're way past the time that these people need to be replaced because they're evil. They're just evil. They're not even incompetent. None of this that's happened has been incompetence. It's all been done deliberately. It's all pure evil. Crazy. The people just put up with it. It's nuts. I even wonder how many of them are people sometimes. How many of the news reporters are actually people? Maybe they're just robots. Did you see a week or two ago, Trump was in the Oval Office or somewhere and there was a strange looking woman behind him. And I'm looking at this woman thinking, is this one of those sex bots? It just really looks like it's not human.
Take this extremely seriously, as we have been for the last year and a half and more of the presidency. At the NIH, what we've done is we have established the Autism Data Science Initiative, which started almost a year, actually more than a year ago, where we funded a dozen and more major research teams to answer the question of what is the cause of autism. It's a complicated biological phenomenon. It's not going to be a simple answer. It will have, as the Secretary said, potentially genetic predisposition, but that cannot possibly explain why we've seen such a large rise in autism. There must be some other...
I mean, she just doesn't look human at all. That's really, really strange. I wonder how many of these people are robots. Maybe she's just being affected by the jab. There has been all sorts of mood swings from people who've taken the jab, and people are still dropping off like flies. But actually people have been noticing that moods are changing with people, and people are wondering whether the graphene in people is being activated.
People sure are moody lately, aren't they? Emotions all over the place. It even seems like some people are completely losing their minds. It's all over the place. It's almost like people's mood changes with the weather. It's weird. But anyway, I don't know who remembers, but a few videos back, I showed you guys the patent for nervous system manipulation through monitors, screens. Whether you're standing in front of it, close to it, or looking at it. The flickering of light or images on screens can mess with your nervous system and cause dizziness, calmness, and unease. And I also showed you that the man that holds these patents is a ghost. You can't even find a picture of him. That man is also the sole owner of Laguna Research Laboratory in California. Well, see, with that laboratory is where things get really interesting, especially since this laboratory has been receiving award money and funding from the Department of War, specifically DARPA, since 1983. You would think that a lab that was funded by the Department of War, working on things like nervous system manipulation at 3015 Rainbow Glen, would look a little more secure. Makes me wonder what's underneath it. But anyway, when you get into some of these awards and the patents coming out of Laguna, it starts to paint a picture. We have the electromagnetic fields for monitors that I already showed you. Here's a patent for the same thing, but remotely and using magnets to manipulate people's nervous system from several hundred meters away. Now, here's a patent for manipulating the nervous system using pulsating cooling to the skin. They were able to cause relaxation, sleepiness, toxic smile, and a knot in people's stomachs just from cooling the skin. Interesting. Now, here's a patent for the same thing, but using heat pulses. They're able to cause sleepiness, drowsiness, sudden loose stool, or sexual excitement. So you're able to make people have an accident and get aroused just from heat. So just to run that back, these patents are saying the potential to be able to manipulate your nervous system in any way, shape, or form can come from flashing light, flashing images, cooling and heating of the skin. I want you to keep that in mind. And let me show you some more patents from the same place. This is a patent for a bipolar fog abatement system. This is a way of using moisture and fog in the air over places like airports and Air Force bases. It basically uses the fog and the moisture in the air, charges it, and creates a invisible barrier so you can't see what's going on below. Basically charging the water and the fog in the air and creating an invisible force field. These next two patents are something you really need to pay attention to. This was actually an award from the Department of Health and Human Services. This one's for developing a generator for therapeutic aerosols suitable for adults, infants, and children. And then the weirdest one of all. This one's from the DOW, and it's for a seawater spray nozzle? If you're confused by that, there's a system where you use aerosols and seawater to make a form of geoengineering called cloud whitening.
That roar is not coming from a snow machine. Instead, the plume you see are tiny aerosol particles. It's the first technology in the country to test ways to brighten clouds in an effort to cool the globe.
So, this lab holds the patents for technology that could use flickering images, frequency, heating, and cooling to manipulate the nervous system. And then they have the patent to charge water particles in the air, distribute aerosols as well as seawater, which those aerosols and salt water can also be charged electrically. You know what? I think I figured out why people's moods seem to change with the weather. What do y'all think? Stay safe.
Who knows, folks? There's every possibility. Perhaps they're just doing it with frequencies. Perhaps it's just, I don't know, this thing that happens. But things are just strange lately. Who knows, folks? Maybe there's some truth in it. I don't know. Maybe it's moon cycles, you know, full moons and things. The lunar cycle, which is of course where the word lunatic comes from. Oh, look, turtle shell. Turtles, interesting things, folks. Little dead turtle, what a shame. Little dead turtle, his feet still sticking out there. Very sad. Lots of turtles on this farm. I thought they were tortoises, but they're actually turtles, little dry land turtles. I didn't know there were turtles to be found on dry land. But we were having a debate about it with the people in the house on my last visit. We ended up looking it up online, and yes, there are turtles that live on dry land. So that's a little bit of new information for me. I thought tortoises were the dry land version and turtles were the aquatic version. But yeah, both the same. So I guess there's probably giant sea tortoises as well as giant sea turtles. Who knows? And turtle shells are a fascinating thing. They really are. You know, all turtle shells have 13 spots on their backs for the 13 months, 13 lunar cycles of the year. Yeah, we're supposed to have 13 months in the year if we're operating on real time. And around the outside of the turtle shell, there are 28 spots for the 28 days that are supposed to exist in each month. And if we were still living our lives according to the specifications laid out by the turtle shell, then we would be fine. I suppose that's why you get the myth that was put forth in the old days where flat Earth is concerned. Yeah, not the modern flat earthers, but the old legends of flat Earth, when they said that the Earth is atop the back of a giant turtle. Like I said, on the turtle shell you've got 13 moon cycles and 28 days for each month, which gives you the days of the year. That's perfect time right there on the turtle's back. So that's interesting. Perhaps that's why they say that. Perhaps that's why that myth exists. But anyway, look, I'm going to leave it there for now, folks. I'm going to be here in Croatia for at least, I don't know, a few more weeks. Perhaps I'll even do a talk here in Croatia, who knows? Perhaps we may even organise something like that. And then I'll be travelling back to Mexico. I expect I'll be back in Mexico sometime in September. It's so lovely here in Croatia, it really is. There's the horse over there that we saw at the start of the report. I wish I had some food for him, but I don't. Unfortunately, next time I come up, I'll come up and do another walk and talk soon, and next time I do, I'll bring some food for the horse to eat. Perhaps an apple or a carrot or something like that. I feel a bit mean coming up here without some food for him. But I never know when I'm going to see him. But yeah, it's been an interesting week, absolutely, especially with the infiltration at Liverpool, which is why you've got to be so careful in putting these sort of events together. And you've got to be very careful to screen people. And you know, a lot of people have said, well, he was wearing that shirt 10 years ago, back in 2016, and since then he's turned against Israel and he's very outspoken and, you know, called an anti-Semite and all sorts of stuff. Well, yeah, I know, that's how they play it. When I hear his talk, and I urge you to go and find it when it comes out, perhaps someone will post it somewhere. But I mean, I don't really want to dwell on this. I mean, I don't like getting into tit for tats with people. I just heard a lot of red flags in his talk. I mean, I'm sure sometime in the next few months you're going to find Thierry Baudet's talk at Liverpool 2026 posted somewhere. And when you listen to it, just listen to it through the eyes of that t-shirt that he's wearing 10 years prior and make up your own mind, form your own opinions. My opinion is that all of this anti-Semitic talk is a play to give him street cred, as would be speaking at Liverpool. And I'll post my talk from Liverpool as soon as, actually it's on my Telegram channel. Someone filmed it on a cell phone, and it's not the official Anacapulco version that you get from their website, which will be a lot better and widescreen and better audio. But someone filmed it on their phone and they posted it to Facebook, and it made its way to Telegram, and I shared it on my Telegram channel. So you could go and look and you will find that. I mean, I'm going to post this video on Telegram, but you'll find that video is the one prior to this one on my Telegram channel. If you don't know where that is, you can take the link below this video. If you can't find the link, just click plus more beneath the video and you'll see the link. So yeah, thanks for listening, folks. Same thank yous I always give. Thank you to the people who send me so many kind emails. Thank you to all the people on the front line speaking out and seeing the truth for what it is and spreading the word. It's so important that we spread the word and that people understand the power for freedom is within them, and the path to freedom is within them as well. There's no group or anything that's going to do it. It's your path and it's your choice over what evil you comply with. And even with all the stuff I say about the state of Israel and this Jewish endeavor to take over the world, I don't hate Jews. I just stand against evil. I will not stand and do nothing in the face of evil. And I think that's what counts. I mean, there's only really two things that are going on here, folks. It's a war against good and evil. And when you look at what Israel is doing, the torture of the prisoners, killing of children, 300 toddlers, infants, not even toddlers, infants, with their hands zip-tied behind their back in a mass grave of 300 infants who are all buried alive. I mean, this sort of stuff is unforgivable. Israeli settlers flying drones and shooting people. Young mother breastfeeding her child, and a settler flying an Israeli drone shoots that child in the head through the window while she's breastfeeding the child. This is not God's chosen handiwork. This is outright evil. There are only two types of people who still support the state of Israel. And that is a misinformed fool or a psychopath. And there is no grey area. Speaking out against that and not wanting these people to come to your country and take over like the hens did to the ducks is not anti-Semitism. It's simply self-protection. And standing up against the evil that would contrive of shooting a 10-month-old baby in the head while it is breastfeeding off its mother. This is not anti-Semitism. This is standing against evil. It's important for people to make that distinction. It really is. The people that go to Israel to join in the war, to defend Israel. I'm not going there to defend anything. There is no war. It's a slaughter. People go to Israel, get the calling because I'm a Jew, and I'm being called because I have an opportunity to go and slaughter children and do it with absolute impunity. I can rape, pillage, plunder, just go in and kill as many people as I want and find out what it feels like. Feel the power of holding life and death in my hands and getting pleasure from that, getting pleasure from the torture and the cruelty and the suffering of my enemies. My enemies, of course, being anybody who stands against my claim that I am God's chosen or I am supreme to you. This is the nature of the state of Israel, and that's what I stand against. And that nature of Israel is evil, pure, unbridled evil. But even with that, you don't need to really fight against it. I mean, the only reason we're standing against it now is because it's carrying out a genocide right in our faces. But you just ignore them because they're not God's chosen, they're just evil. You don't have to give them any respect. You don't have to give the politicians who support them any respect. The respect goes for yourself and those who do good and those who have a state of integrity in their lives. Well, here's the mother of that other horse. Isn't she beautiful? Hello. Look, and there's the other one over there. This is the new stallion. They will probably get a foal from this stallion. I guess will be sort of dappled or grey or whatever, I don't know. But her and him, and I believe the other horse that we saw previously, are a very rare breed here in Dalmatia. They're unique to Dalmatia here in Croatia. And there's not too many of them left. And so that's one of the reasons they've got these horses, so that they can keep the line going. They're just wonderful people, the people that I'm staying with, they really are. But yeah, I mean, that's all I'm doing, folks. I'm not standing against Jews in particular, I'm just standing against evil. I mean, look at the stuff these people have done. Look at the whole hoax, honestly. This is the cruelest lie ever perpetrated on not just the German people, but all the people of the world. It is a fake genocide that is being used to justify a real genocide, not just of Palestine and not just of Lebanon, but of the entire world. It gives them a get-out-of-jail-free card. It gives them a constant victim status. Everybody, you can't say anything against these people because if you do, you're anti-Semitic. That's what we've seen in Australia. This is what all these new hate crime laws are about, whereby you can get 5 years jail for asking your politician to please speak out against the genocide in Gaza. Apparently in England there's been like 1,200 people arrested simply for Facebook posts condemning Israel in their actions. And like I said, they're setting up enclaves all over the world. Israel was set up to destroy the Arab world, flood all the migrants into Europe, and they're setting up their own enclaves in Europe so that once all the population turns to shit around them and everyone's killing each other, then they will have their little safe enclave where they will rise as the ruling power in the region. What they've done in Ukraine, it's what they want to do everywhere they go, folks. Look at these horses, they're very friendly. I wish I had some food for them, I really do. You're wonderful creatures, aren't you? Hello. You got flies all over you, haven't you? How about you? Yeah, you have got flies on you as well, but you're both very beautiful. Such wonderful creatures and so friendly. I definitely got to bring some food for them next time I come. Let's get all these flies off you. What's happening? Yeah. But, yeah, that's about all I got to say, folks. Again, thank you to anybody who's ever made a contribution. I'll actually put the link up on the screen. I don't normally do that, but I'll put it up on the screen just here because a lot of people have been asking me, where's the link? How can I support you? And I could really do with the support, folks. It's been very, very few and far between that anyone's been making any contributions. And like I said, I don't do this for money, but it really helps. It really does. And I spend all my savings on, getting this message out, or trying to. And it becomes very difficult to keep it going. Because sometimes I really do wonder, whether we're going to make it. I really do. We've come so far from our path. from what it means to be human, from what we should be doing, you know, what the world used to be, all those food forests and all that technology we had. I saw another video the other day, it's like 3.5 hours long, I haven't watched it yet, someone sent it to me, about apparently a city, underground civilization built beneath Sydney in Australia. But it's like 3 hours or 3.5 hours long, so it's going to be difficult to find time to watch that one. And it's difficult these days. I mean, I've seen new video footage of UFOs, and even that footage that I showed you in the last video of the old forests and stuff in Australia. It's difficult to verify how much of that is true, those old photographs, or how much of it's AI. Like I've said recently, it's very difficult for me to get excited about any new information that comes to me online anymore since the advent of AI. AI is getting so good. In fact, I'm going to include a US 250th anniversary song at the end of this video, which is made entirely with AIs, but still I think it's a good message for the patriots. But with all the photographs that I see of research now, any UFO footage that I see, any old photographs of things like this that I see, it's very difficult for me to take it seriously because I just don't know whether it's true. Look, here comes the farm worker. This is the girl who came to visit me in Mexico when she was 19. Here she is riding the tractor to work to the fig farm. She's 22 years old now. Perfecto. She's an awesome young woman. She's a perfect example of how good farm life is for you. She has like, she's tall, she's like 6'2". She's got the clearest skin and just the healthiest muscle structure. She's just like a perfect, healthy young woman, human being. You don't see too many of them these days. She's got the perfect tan from being outside working and just eating organic food all the time, like a perfect human specimen. And it's wonderful to see. The people that I'm staying with, such good people, and her brother's the same, you know. It's just so wonderful to see. Though her brother does have a drink now and then and party with his mates a little bit now and then, she doesn't do that. She just works here on the farm and looks after herself and hangs from the monkey bars and drives the tractor and all sorts of shit. And a perfect human specimen, wonderful to see. Wonderful to see what organic food can do for you. But anyway, like I was saying, I don't even know what I was saying. But yeah, if anybody can contribute, that would be great. I'll put the link on the screen. And yeah, if you can, I'd really appreciate it. Unfortunately, I can't set up any weekly thing or monthly thing like I used to have with Patreon or any of that sort of stuff because they just banned me from all of it. PayPal, Patreon, all of it. So that's just the way it goes. And probably even to try to get one of them now, I'd probably need a digital ID anyway, who knows. But thank you to anybody who can. But look, I'm going to leave it there for now. I'm going to leave you with this America 250th birthday song. I hope you take the message the way it's intended, especially if you're an American. Well, of course, that's who it's directed to. And perhaps put some of it into practice and reclaim your country. I mean, the whole world needs to reclaim their countries from the parasitic system that now controls them. We've got to stop calling these people the global elite. They're not the global elite. They're a bunch of pathetic parasites, murderers who kill, eat, torture children. Oh, that's what she's doing. She isn't doing any fig picking. She's going in there to feed the horses, I would imagine, because it would appear that she's just fed the donkeys. Great place here, folks, it really is. These creatures are so cool. So I'd say that's what she's doing with the tractor, going there and there to feed those horses that we were just conversing with. But anyway, folks, I'll leave it there for now. Thank you for joining me on this report. I'll leave you with this video and I'll look forward to speaking to you again soon. I hope this wasn't too discombobulated for you. I've been a little bit all over the place. It's been a big week at Liverpool. But I will look forward to speaking to you again soon, folks, within the next few days to a week. Please take very good care until then. In Lakesh.
Sweet land, sweet land of the weary and the wild. Oh, where are you, my sweet to dive. Can't tell if it's the dusk or if it's breaking into dawn. Are we going on or are we going gone? Somebody said a storm is coming, but it's been a long time. I don't know what's up ahead, but please baby don't you look behind. So tell me, is it gonna be free energy forever or just the same damn old grind? Singing sweet land of the weary and the wild. Are we 1 year from the grave, or is this just the beginning? My sweet child, oh, you're my star-spangled fever dream. Half a savior, half a liar. 250 summers and we're going higher, singing sweet land, going. The neighbors might be coming with a casserole or a gun. The kids are either screaming or they're laughing in the sun. Is the timeline coming undone, or is it coming in clear? The fireworks are blinding, but I'll keep on dancing here. And nobody can promise me that we're gonna make it to the light. So is it an awakening, or is this a knife in the night? So come on, brother, sister, stand up tall, because guess what? Where we go one, we go all. If you can hear this from the other side, across this great quantum divide, don't get me wrong, now is the time to stay strong. So, with all of that I'll say, God bless the USA! God bless the USA! Singing sweet land, going on. 250 years and it's going on and on the edge of a forever or the edge of being gone. Is it midnight? Is it morning? Is it ruining? Is it time to rise? 250 summers gone by. So just go on and tell me those sweet lies, the kind as sweet as these July. Going on and going gone. Lined up, higher. Sweet land's going on. Sweet land, going gone. So please, just know that we can still rebuild. We can still make something.